迦牟尼佛，南无本师释迦牟尼佛，南无本师释迦牟尼佛。The sutra opening kata, the Dharma, infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered, even in a million kalpas. Now we are able to learn, to study, and to practice. May we fully understand and realize the Tathagata's true teachings. Okay, so we will read the Heart Sutra. Okay, the Prajnaparamita Tritaya Sutra. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, when practicing deeply the Prajnaparamita, perceives that all five khandhas are empty and is saved from all suffering and distress. O Sariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear nor disappear, are not tainted nor pure, do not increase or decrease. There is emptiness, no form, no feelings, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and no forth until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance and also no extinction of it, and so forth until no old age and death, and also no extinction of them. No suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment. With nothing to attain, the Bodhisattva depends on Prajnaparamita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, the Bodhisattva dwells in nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on Prajnaparamita and attain unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment. Therefore, know the Prajnaparamita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So proclaim the Prajnaparamita mantra. Proclaim the mantra that says, Gade Gade, Paragade, Parasam Gade, Bodhe Swaha. Okay, so we're still on the title, the Prajnaparamita Tritaya Sutra. So we talk about prajna last week, but I missed out one point is, without prajna, what happened? Without prajna, we will make some serious mistakes. And when we consider this lifetime, if we do not have prajna, we won't understand the way we are and the way our life is, and what are the reasons for what are the reasons for what has happened in our life. And without prajna, we will not be able to change our views on, how to look at this life, like a river which is constantly flowing and constantly changing. Because without this wisdom, we will just look at the river as a river, and we will have a misperception of the truth of that river, the truth of the nature pertaining to the existence of that river. As we know, a river is very unstable, right? A river is constantly flowing. A river is constantly changing. And so is everything that is inside the river. Even a tiny grain of sand or even a tiny little rock inside the river is still, constantly be changing according to how the river flows, how the river moves the sand, the rocks, the stone, or even the plants. So seeing the river the way it is, we understand our life too. Sometimes our life, the pace of our life could be fast, the pace of our life could be slow. And sometimes we gain, sometimes we lose, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're sad. If we do not understand that, then we will always start to look for happiness from a mundane point of view. Right? If we keep on looking for that kind of happiness, even though maybe one day we get it, or a lot of times you get it, but there is always something lurking at the back of your mind. What would that be? Yeah, the desire for everything. And if you do get it, which is really a lot of times we don't get it. If you do get it, there is another thought behind that mind. Wanting it to stay, or the fear of losing it, right? So if we don't lose it, then it's okay. We'll still be happy. But if we really lost it, then there will be great grief, anxiety, and sometimes anger, sometimes, or if we have lost it. For example, if we have lost a good friend or lost a close family member, a lot of time we'll think back to their life or their relationship with us. Then we will go into a very guilty mode, or sometimes shame about our incapability or inability to do so-called more, right? So that is one big mistake we will fall into in this lifetime if we do not have this prajna, if we are not wise. And then the second one is the second possible mistakes is actually very possible. Is the next lifetime is it will bring wandering life in samsara, indefinite wandering. It sounds very scary, doesn't it? But it does happen because of the unhappiness, because of the fear, because of the emotions that we have in this lifetime that will carry through into the next lifetime. As we have studied before, what is the storage of this? What bring back to this next lifetime? Yeah, it's the consciousness that we have actually stored in that eighth consciousness, remember? Yeah. So that's the problem is if we do not have this wisdom, then we will be constantly wandering in samsara indefinitely. Because if we have enjoyed this mundane happiness, either whether it's from pleasant feelings or from like sentimental attachments or sentimental relationships, we will definitely start to want. We went to Saskatoon just this past weekend, and so what did we do, right? If anybody of you have actually saw my Facebook message, I wrote it last night about 12 o'clock. It kind of depressing, wasn't it? Yeah, I was disappointed, and so was Eva. Eva just noticed that she carried a lot of sadness. She replied once that she replied to to a message. I just read it before I came over here just now. Because we expected something. We expected him to be better. We actually, for those of you who what probably don't know, what we do in Saskatoon is we went to a prison to visit an inmate friend that we have known for 8 years. He's got transferred out to Saskatoon about 3 years ago. And because of the great changes that I have seen in him while he was here with us, I didn't want him to go back to his old self. So, with a lot of people helping, with a lot of people really giving us the travel expenses, we were able to go and visit him 3 times in the last couple of years, right? 3 times in the last couple of years. So this time it's been a year that we haven't seen him. And it was supposed to be a very happy sort of encounter because it's been a year. But what we saw, I was so shocked when he came in. I did not recognize him because I was standing there and there was somebody with a back towards me, and Eva went into the washroom. So I was in the chapel waiting for him to come, and it was a completely different physical body that we were so familiar with. He used to be strong and slim, and this one was like a big belly and really puffy eyes, and really we could not see his eyes. It was a shocking experience. And what's shocking was not, it wasn't just the physical, it really was his mental. He used to be a very, very sharp person, but I think because of all these medications, so he was fading out, in and out all the time. So we could actually see his aimless mind wandering out. So, but we had a very good visit with him. We had almost 2 hours, and over the 2 hours, we even though I was frustrated, I was disappointed with the system, but I still saw some light. in the otherwise, I cannot carry on with my compassion for the system. I would just go crazy myself. I would lose hope in humanity. But because I think I still saw some light in that tunnel, because of I think because of the really established relationship that we have had, right, for the past 8 years. And he could still recall a lot of teachings that actually I have given. And he said, I will keep on trying. And he said, that I don't promise unless I can do it. But I said, you are going to, I poke him into his corner, into his shoulder. I said, but you're going to promise me this time to meditate every day. I poke him. I said, you promise. And he said, I promise. So once he promised, I know he will do it. But I know he knows, and he try his best to meditate, but without the right kind of support, it's really difficult. It's already an environment that actually calls for just survival, not living, right? And let alone cultivate our mental well-being in the midst of all the chaos, physical chaos and also mental chaos caused by all the medications, right? So it was another wake-up call for me is don't expect. No expectation. So I actually told him, because I expected him to be like this, because he has been like this. I told him back the story that way back when he was still here. But I said, I really, at the end of after I wrote the message last night, I said to myself, I need to let go of this too. I need to let go of him too. So next time we have another story to tell him, another letting go. So he's teaching me to let go, really. He's teaching me to let go. Even though this is not happiness, this is not, I'm not seeking mundane happiness, but still I am wishing for a sort of pleasant result, right? If I'm wishing for a pleasant result, that means I'm not seeing this situation as the way it is, and I'm not seeing this situation as the way that his karma has led him to this particular point in this life, at this lifetime. I mean, at this time in this lifetime. So last night, after I wrote this message, I just said, no, I needed to write it out. I needed to share with everybody so that people know what's going on with him, because a lot of people from Hong Kong actually knows him. So they would love to hear about him. Whether it's pleasant, whether it's sweet, whether it's sad, I think it's nice to actually, as like a ringing bell, a wake-up call for all of us. Okay, so whether even though it is unpleasant, but I know it will change. It may become more unpleasant in the future, or it may become pleasant. Who knows? Nobody knows. We will see how his karma play out. Okay. So because of what we actually, how we actually hold our experience, how we actually hold our attitude in the past life, actually brings what's happening next lifetime. Okay, so a sentimental attachment actually brings a lot of wandering in the next lifetime, in next lifetime in samsara cyclic existence. So be very, very careful and understand why we really need to cultivate this panya. Why it would be wandering in samsara next lifetime? Because next life we completely forget what happened last lifetime. Unless we were those little kid, like 2 to 5 years old, 6 years old, they remember their past life, but they will grow out of it. When they get older, they will forget. And when we forget, then we forget the teachings. We forget the lesson that we have learned from last lifetime. If we remember, then that's great. Then we will learn from the lesson, hopefully, and keep reminding us from the lesson that we have learned last lifetime, and so that we don't go into that samsara this lifetime and next lifetime. But one thing is, because our memory is so short-termed, and especially if we are so filled up, our life is so filled up with so many other external things or external learnings or whatever, that actually it actually kick out all those memories of the past lifetime so very fast, very, very fast. So because we don't remember, that's why we constantly put ourselves into that cyclic existence, the cycle again, over and over again. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I have a student who actually told me that his friend actually passed away, and he was very upset. And so I said, well, this is life, and you just have to continue to work at it. And then after a couple of days, he told me that he went to the funeral, but one of the friends told him a dream about this deceased friend. Appearing in their friend's dream, he said, wow, she looked very lost. She looked very scared. She was so afraid. And she went to talk to this friend and said, I don't know that I have died, because she died in her sleep after a wonderful lunch with her husband. She went to bed. 3 hours she did not wake up. She died in her sleep. And her friend dreamt of her, saying that I don't know where I am. I don't know that I have died. What am I going to do? You see, wandering. And it's a very dark place when we wander. And hopefully with so many people dedicating their chantings, their practice, their merits to a metta to her, hopefully brightness will set in, and she will be able to go into that bright path. Okay, so this is really not easy. And last Friday, I somebody came to visit me, and I know their parents very well from China, and she said, Sifu, I went into meditation, and I just saw my dad there. Her dad passed away 2 years ago. And the first thing she asked her Dad, how are you? And you know what? He did not reply, I'm this and that. He immediately jumped into that, how's your mom? Because the father always every day would go to the old folks home and spend a day there, spend the morning, and then went home for lunch, and then take a nap, and then go to the old folks home in the afternoon and spend the whole day there, the whole afternoon there, days in, days out, 365 days for the last 10 years. And you see that kind of attachment. And even after you die or I die, don't curse you, I die, I will still hold on to that sentimental feelings, that sentimental relationship. So it's quite scary. It's not that I'm asking you to divorce your husband or divorce your wife. Okay, I'm not asking you that, but practice, and understand your relationship this lifetime, and prepare yourself if this relationship has to part this way, whether due to natural causes or due to man-made causes or due to whatever reasons. You just have to be very, very mindful and don't allow yourself to be trapped in that kind of attachment. All right. So without panya, that's just one big mistake that we will actually make. So be very, very, very careful. Okay. So we finished talking about panya. So we go to paramita. So it seems that Prajnaparamita, 2 words, actually no. But I want to actually explain each word first, and then we will look at the word together. Okay? Because it's actually 2 words and 2 qualities. You can actually see it from 2 qualities point of view. Okay, paramita. Param, that means beyond, go beyond. Okay? And ita means she who has gone. Ita is actually a feminine word, okay? It means she who has gone beyond. So that means it has transcend, or to liberate, or to actually distance from our own defilements and attachments and dukkha. So this and then okay, to distant. And also in the and another meaning is to actually to travel from this shore to the other shore. And you say, hey, travel from this shore of the river to the other shore of the river. Yes, you can say it this way. Or you travel from this shore of dukkha, defilements. And if we have this prajna paramita, or this quality of wisdom, we'll be able to travel across from this shore of attachments, dukkha, to the other shore of liberation and freedom. So the other shore actually depicts freedom and liberation. So it's really not necessarily a physical travel from here and you take a raft. You can take a raft. The raft is the Buddha's teachings. Okay, you take a raft and then you go to the little shore and you become liberated. You can depict it that way, or you can depict it like the shore is full of. The shore means a lot of defilements, a lot of afflictions, a lot of sufferings and miseries, dissatisfactions, and dukkha, dukkha, dukkha. The other shore is sukha, 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 liberation, liberation, freedom. Okay, so with this Prajnaparamita, we attain by developing this heart mind. This life will at least this lifetime we will be a little bit more peaceful, more balanced, a little bit happier, and at ease. Therefore, this if we are developed in this prajna or paramita, we will benefit in this lifetime. And if we benefit from this lifetime, if we become clearer, if we become more peaceful, more at ease, less dukkha, then that means next lifetime it will benefit our next lifetime. Okay, so when we look at paramita, of course, Prajnaparamita is one of the paramita. In the Chinese Mahayana tradition, it says there are 6 paramita. So, but in the Theravadan, it will be 10. Okay. So, but since this is a Mahayana text, we will talk about the Mahayana tradition. First is generosity, we call dana. And second is morality, it's called sila. So generosity, that means you support, you help, you give. We have studied that before. Dana could be material and could be Dharma. Okay, I'm giving you Dharma dana. Okay. Or could be mental. I'm cultivating metta bhavana, loving kindness. That is mental. Okay, that's mental dana. So morality, that means we upkeeping verbal, physical, and mental morality. Okay, so in sila, in the mundane person or householder, what are the silas? The basic sila. Hmm? Actions, yeah, good actions. So actions include no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, lying, yes, verbal, speech, yeah, like wholesome speech. And then the last one, the most important one, or not the most important one, if why this has been added, the 5th one? No alcohol, no intoxicants. Why is it added? Because if you're intoxicated, you will likely break the former 4. Yeah. Okay. So remember this. And then the 3rd is the tolerance, khanti. So you see 2 words. The first word with the little thing that is a Sanskrit. The second was khanti, that is a Pali word. So I put that down. So tolerance means like patience, tolerating, yeah, accepting. And as I have shared with you before, my Sifu teaching to me about tolerance, you remember? Oh, I haven't told you the story, probably. Yeah, it always happen in this class, right? All the stories that I have told, you haven't heard. I need to repeat it again and again, right? So I remember I think it was 1995 or 96. I went back home to to visit and to deal with a few things. And this is a respect of a student to a teacher. Is when we have to leave, we always go to pay respect to the teacher and ask for teaching. Okay, so I remember Sifu was in the gazebo. That is his practice. Every morning after the breakfast, he would bring his Dharma Sutra. The sutra in the sutra book in the Chinese form is like is like all those old one with the being tied being binded together with threads. Okay, so he would always go like this. He actually memorized the Diamond Sutra, but he always go like that. So he will walk around in walking meditation, and then read his sutra. Actually, studying and thinking and reflecting. So that day he was sitting at a gazebo and reading his sutra. I had to leave the mountain. Then I went to pay respect to him, and then I knelt there and I put my palms together. I said, Sifu, I need to leave because the flight is 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and please have compassion on me and give me some teaching. You know what he said to me? He said, be patient and tolerant. And I thought myself, I am a very patient person. I'm a very tolerant person. People say things, and I just sometimes, a lot of times, I keep my mouth shut, even though I'm very unhappy inside. I just don't say anything. But inside, bubbling, right? Or sometimes I would go and not argue, but just say, this is not right, and blah 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 blah, and I have all this reasoning, and then okay, I'll bear with you. I'm very patient with you. I'll tolerate you. This is so. Sifu said, you have to be patient and tolerate. So I frowned and I looked at him and said, huh? And he knew I had doubts, right? And I didn't want to take that teaching. And then he said, those people, those things that are unreasonable, and you tolerate the unreasonable, that is real tolerance. You don't go and argue, and you don't go and reason with everybody else and everything, blah, 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 ABCDE, and everything. And then you say, okay, I forgive you and I'm tolerating you. He said, that is not tolerance. And I looked at him, that's even worse, right? I should have said thank you and gone. And I looked at him and I said, wow, this is a big lesson, a big thing to learn, a big thing to do. And I remember by reading the Diamond Sutra, I said, is it like Buddha when he was one life he was a practitioner in the cave, and there was the king, and then his wives, and the king fell asleep, and the wives went around wandering around and see this very gracious practitioner inside the cave, and they asked for teaching, and the king woke up and found that no wife around. So he was so mad, and he went, and he saw this man, this practitioner, this man there, and the wives were all around him. And he said, you are trying to seduce my wife? And the practitioner said, no, I'm not. I'm not seducing your wife. And the king said, don't you dare to say one more word. I'm going to take your ear off. I'm going to take your arm off. And the Buddha said, well, that was one life of the Sikamuni Buddha, one past life. And the Buddha said, if I ever had one tiny thought of lust in me, seeing these women, if I don't have a tiny thought of lust, seeing this woman, made my ear and my arm grow back. It did grow back. It's like salamander. I did not understand that. I thought it was so like mystic until I actually heard from a clinical psychologist about salamander being able to regrow their limbs. I said, this is what it is. The energy, that mental energy, that purity of that mind actually brings forth extreme power. And I think that was Buddha, because he's the extreme power in his mind that actually anything can grow back. It's supernatural power. So tolerance, no reasoning, okay? If you go and reason it out and you say, I tolerate you, then that is not true tolerance according to my Sifu. Okay, I have passed down my Sifu's teaching to you now. Okay, so you all know what is tolerant. Okay, and then the fourth one is effort, virya, or viya in Sanskrit. Effort, that means the proper kind of effort to put into your practice. And then the fifth one is the one-pointedness or one-pointed concentration, danya or jhana in Pali. And then our last one is the prajna. Okay, so these are all paramitas. But these five, the first five qualities or perfections actually are the foundations for the development of the prajna paramita. Okay, so you can call this danya paramita, sila paramita, and kanti paramita, and virya paramita, and jhana paramita, and this is panya paramita. So these five are actually the foundations. If you do not have a very strong foundation in all of these, you will never get there. I see these five as the post of a gazebo without a roof. The gazebo is useless, right? Even though you have five posts, 4 posts. If these posts are strong and sturdy, it will hold. It will hold that roof. And with a roof, then you will be liberated. Because it's useful. Because the wisdom become a tool already. Become a liberating tool. You see? Okay? Are you still with me? Yeah. Good. Now we come to the tough part. Always tough, this part, because we're talking about our heart mind. Hridaya, this H sound is not being pronounced like it's a hush sound. So Hridaya, that means the heart mind. In Chinese, the sum. Okay. The blue word that Tai Sifu doesn't recognize last week. So there are 5 you can call. You can actually say there are 5 different kind of hearts, or you can say that there are actually 5 different kind of level of the heart mind. Okay, 20 minutes. We can finish this. First is the physical, that fleshy part, that fleshy mind. So this is the physical part, and this is the material part of our existence. We always have this wrong idea that this heart is the center of our lives and it maintains our life. And sorry. But we do not understand. This is just the material part of the life. Okay. But we think, oh, this heart is everything. Yes, this heart is everything right now here, because it's got the four elements, it's got the water, it's got the fire, it's got the earth, it's got the wind, it's got flesh, it's got a form. It's really there is substance in it, but it's just a material part. And yes, the consciousness is, could be there. Okay. And then there is this second type of heart mind we call the thinking heart mind or the perception heart mind. And this has to deal with the awareness of us as human beings. So there is this one that thinks, that worries, that fantasize, that wander, and there are 6 types of perceptions, right? Agree? Which 6? If you agree. So the eye will see form, and then it has an awareness of the form and the color, and the ear will hear the sound. So you have this hearing perception, and the nose, yep, because of the fragrance. Then you have this ability to smell, and the tongue, you have this ability to taste, and you can taste the taste. And then the body, you can feel the touch, the contact. Okay. And then the mind here, you can what? You can think, right? You can think, you can interpret, and you can you can fantasize, you can wonder. Okay. So that's the perception part mind. And then there comes this, the seventh, this discriminating heart mind we call manas. This is the 7th consciousness. Okay, the 7th. So this one is the 6th consciousness. Okay, the ear, the nose, the eye, the tongue, and the body, and this mind here. Then this discriminating heart mind is the 7th consciousness. How many consciousnesses do we have? She said 8. You trust her?
No, you just said 8 a little while ago.
Good. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the seven consciousnesses we call manas, manas. So this is the heart mind that discriminates, that judges, that prefers, that good or bad, and that white or black, correct or wrong. So one of the primary function of this consciousness is to perceive the subjective position of that 8th consciousness. Or you could say is it actually through all these 6 consciousness, and then it will pick the messages with these 6 consciousness, and it will what? What does the 7 consciousness do? It moves all this information and then into the storehouse. Remember? I said these are the movers. Remember, movers. Or in the Chinese word, we have coolies. Have you heard this name, this word? Coolies, like hard workers. No? You haven't heard this? It's called coolie, Coolie. Coolies. That means the heart movers, heart workers. Okay, so the basic nature of this mana is of a thought. Okay, they think and then they act. But the terrible thing of this seven consciousness is it says it's forever judging. It's forever judging. Okay. So there is a difference between the seven consciousness and the mental consciousness. Okay. The sixth consciousness, we call the mental consciousness, has the quality of also discriminating, measuring, but it's not permanent. It doesn't stay forever. It doesn't stay for a long time. But yeah.
Is the discriminating consciousness is it emotional?
Is it emotional? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It could be, but not necessarily. Because when you're judging and you store that judgment into that storage, it's not necessarily emotional. Right? It could be right or wrong, black or white, sad or happy. So it's not necessarily always emotional. Okay. And when we talk about the eighth consciousness, we'll come to that. So there's a difference between the seventh consciousness and the sixth consciousness. And then the seventh consciousness is eternally discriminating. But the eighth consciousness is constantly there. It's eternal, is persisting, is persistently existing, but it doesn't measure. It's just a storehouse staying there. That's what we actually, that's where it's the storehouse that brings reincarnation. Because we are storing all the energy, all the seeds in there. Oh yeah, easy to say. No, it's easy to say. That's why we have to keep practicing lives in and lives out. Right? It's easy to say, but very difficult to do. Because our attachment, we have so many seeds inside. That is so it takes many lifetimes to really weed them out. Completely weed them out. Not easy. But optimistic. Yeah. Okay. So this manas is actually a very, very strong power that attaches to the result of our thinking. And it doesn't stop discriminating. Remember, at the sixth consciousness can stop. So remember, the mana is the mover. It constantly sieving out things that are related to I and me and mine, and then put it into the eighth consciousness. Store it away because this is mine. Store it away because this is I. Store it away because it's me. So I like it. I don't like it. You have hurt me, or you have taken my things. So put it away, store it. So it's enormous storage. Okay. Huge space there. So because of this attachment nature, it always influences the other six consciousness. So because of this ego, of this six, of this manas, everything will start with this selfishness to fulfill one's desire until it gets what it wants. So that's a problem with this seventh consciousness. Okay. Therefore, it will express itself into very unwholesome actions. Okay. So that is discriminating heart mind. So the fourth one is the accumulative arising heart mind. We call it the Japesam Alaya Vijana. Alaya, that means the eighth consciousness. But mind you, the wisdom is also in the eighth consciousness. So this alaya, this accumulative reactive mind is also in this eighth consciousness. So that's why we are training ourselves to turn this storage into a better storage. Why would we react with pleasant things, with craving to pleasant things? Why do we react to unpleasant things with anger, ill will, animosity? Because we have those seeds in this consciousness. That's why we react in such way. So we are learning when these reactions start to arise, we are learning to just stay observant and objective and not reacting and not dwelling and not taking into its action. So we are turning this accumulative arising heart mind into what? Into a wise mind. Okay? So that is the fourth. So this could be considered as the storage of our karma, this accumulative arising heart mind. And in the Yogacara sect, they think this what we do during our lives, whether it's wholesome or unwholesome, will form and become a habit, which becomes an imprint in the eighth consciousness, like a stamp on your envelope, on your stamp. You stamp it, it stays there. You cannot rub it off. Okay. So with unwholesome conditions, if we all fulfill, and they will bring about lower realm consequences. If the conditions for enlightenment are complete, then it will turn itself into a worldly life to become a holy and unworldly being. Okay, so it depends on the storage. All right. So all these worldly and unworldly existence, they arise because of the sources in this alaya consciousness. So this is the fourth level or the fourth type of mind. And then this is the final, the solid and wise heart mind. This is what the Heart Sutra actually teaches. Okay. And this kind of mind, what it says in here is no passing, no arising, no form, and no color, no sound, and no ignorance and no extinction of it. This is what the Heart Sutra actually teaches us, and this is where this actually is where the panya is. But mind you, this also is in the eighth consciousness. So we, as I always say in meditation, remember, if we have an aware mind, we are using the aware mind to observe the unaware mind. It's the same mind. We don't have two minds. It's the same mind. We are just correcting and converting that unaware mind or this judgmental mind to an aware mind, to a less judgmental mind. So it's all in the same alliance, in the same consciousness, the eighth consciousness. And this is a very, very solid, very stable, a pure mind. And this is what we are actually striving for, the Buddha nature, and which we all possess. Isn't that right? That's good enough, isn't it? We all have it, right? Buddha nature. So little dust that we remove, we reveal a little bit more of the Buddha nature. You see? So good, right? Keep working. Okay. So that's why we always say the Buddha nature is always existing. Okay. So now we look at this. This is more complicated. So the physical mind is really the physical. We call it the first aggregate, or you can call it the first skanda. So, and these from the perception heart mind to where up to the accumulative arising heart mind, you can actually put that, you can actually regard it as the four aggregates: the feeling part of the mind, the perception part of the mind, the reactive part of the mind, and the consciousness. Okay. Whereas this last bit is the pure and the wise mind, is called the Buddha nature. Okay. So I give you an example. King Asoka. King Asoka was the king in the old days of India, and we are able to hear the teachings now. It's because of the king. He actually sent out a whole entourage of arahats to actually take the teachings to places outside India, to Burma, to Afghanistan, those Southeast Asia area. So that's why we have all these literatures now. Before he became such a devoted practitioner, he actually was a very, very cruel king. He wanted to expand his territory. And so he killed, and he killed, and he killed. And one day he encountered the teachings of the Buddha. He completely turned around. So he turned his life around because why? He actually realized at that time, he realized this bloodshed is causing so much grief to others and to himself. So his wise mind, his compassionate mind arise at that time. And so he turned to become a different person. So some scholars said there are so many famous kings in the world, but the only king that up to now, 2,000 years now after the Buddha has died, this king is still remembered by humankind, is King Asoka. It's him. Really? I mean, you ask me about other kings, I can't remember. Maybe King George V. That's all. But King Asoka, everybody, a lot of people remember. Okay, so that is the hard part of the whole title. So I will overrun a little bit because I want to finish this part. So Master Bodhidharma, who traveled from India to China, and he wrote a poem. It's a wonderful poem. And I translated this also, okay? So it says, heart, or you can say heart, mind, difficult to find when it is wide and open, it spreads over the galaxy or over the whole universe everywhere. The universe is, not just this universe, it's all along, everywhere. But contrary, that means opposite. On the opposite, it could become so tight and narrow that it doesn't even allow a needle to go through. Huh? I totally believe that. And you see, a mind with wisdom, and what kind of wisdom? Everything is empty. Everything is empty of a real self, and no attachment to this emptiness, no attachment to this existence. Then we will become liberated from the defilements. And if we really need to come out of our sufferings, we really need to understand this mind. But this is not easy to achieve. But if we really start to understand our own mind, I tell you, a little bit that you understand, there will be wisdom there. Okay, so why we need to practice? We need to practice because we need to understand our mind. Okay, it's not the heart, not the physical heart mind. It's all the rest of the heart mind. So that's why the Bodhidharma, Master Bodhidharma said this, told this poem. Heart is actually the three heart minds. It's the heart mind of the past, heart mind of the present and the heart mind of the future. You see, it's not just heart, or it's just for convenience. No, it's actually talking about the heart in three different space of time, and it's very difficult, really difficult to find, because why? We can only remember the memory of our past experience, but can we really experience that experience again? No, we can remember that experience, but that is only remembering, right? So we can't. We have to. We have to think about the future. Yes, we dream, we think, we fantasize, but that is not the future yet, right? So that's why in the Dharma Sutra it says a past thought cannot be found, a present thought cannot be found, a future thought cannot be found. The Dharma Sutra is even more abstract, even more difficult to understand. But if you keep on reading it, you will understand it. So that is why it says when we are developed, when we attain the wisdom, the heart mind is completely free from all defilements, because we don't need to find the heart mind anymore. The heart mind is here, right here. And this whole Heart Sutra actually teaches us how to attain this final deliverance and happiness to freedom. So what is meant by the heart is simply the heart mind of great Panya. Okay, it's not the physical heart, or the accumulative arising heart, or the perception heart, or the discriminating heart. It's the wise and solid heart. Okay, so that's why the whole Prajnaparamita Tridaya Sutra, the whole title is a roadmap towards happiness. If you understand it, a Prajnaparamita is actually one quality. If you achieve this highest perfection of wisdom, paramita, that means highest perfection of wisdom, prajna. That means you understand your heart, and you will be able to liberate yourselves. You don't need to liberate, you will be naturally liberated. Okay, and then you won't be stuck in this shore of defilements and afflictions. You'll be in the other shore of total liberation and happiness. So we can cross the seas of samsara, ocean of samsara, and reach the other shore. So in this whole sutra, the substance of the whole sutra is Prajnaparamita. And this Prajnaparamita is the substance of the heart, of a wise heart, of the Buddha nature. So by this wonderful, marvelous wisdom, we can actually transcend our birth and death and reaches this realm of true emptiness. So we can see, just by breaking up and learning each word in this title, we understand what this complete title means. And if we start to really live our life according just to this, what this title has taught us, we definitely will reach happiness. So that's why this title is already a roadmap to true happiness. So simple, but yes, so profound. Yeah. Any obvious question? Okay, no question. Then we dedicate up. So we bring our attention back to this body. This attention is actually a function of our own mind. And this feeling, the body, is also a function of this heart mind. And this experience of these constant changes in this physical existence is also from this heart mind. Knowing this, experiencing this constant flux of changes within our own physical existence, we allow a good thought to arise on our mind. For all the benefits that I gather tonight, may I share with all beings, human, non-human, visible, invisible, big or small, far or near. May they be free of enmity. May they be free of miseries. May they start to live in the brightness, warmth, and experience compassion and love, and be truly happy and peaceful. May we wish more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha, study them, practice them, help themselves to liberate themselves from all the shackles, defilements, entanglements, and attain ultimate freedom and happiness.